I built Tech Vibe from nothing. 10 years of 16-hour days, missed birthdays, relationships that fell apart because I chose work over everything else. At 32, I was the youngest female CEO in the marketing software sector. I'd earned every piece of that title through blood, sweat, and more all-nighters than I can count. I'm Victoria Chen, 32, and Tech Vibe is my life. I started this company in my studio apartment when I was 22, fresh out of business school with a computer science degree, $40,000 in student debt, and an idea that everyone said was too risky. Marketing automation software that actually understood small businesses, not just enterprise giants. I maxed out 3 credit cards, taught myself to code through the nights, and pitched to 67 investors before someone finally believed in me. Now we're a $50 million company with 200 employees and clients across North America. I sacrificed everything for this: friendships, relationships, sleep, my 20s. Tech Vibe isn't just my company. It's proof that I could build something that mattered. That's why hiring Emma Clark felt like one of my smartest decisions. She walked into my office on a Tuesday morning with a portfolio that screamed ambition and a smile that felt genuine. 26 years old, Stanford graduate, 3 years at a respectable mid-tier firm. But what sold me wasn't the resume, it was the hunger in her eyes. I recognized it because I'd seen it in my own mirror for a decade. "I've followed Tech Vibe since launch," she said, leaning forward like she couldn't contain her enthusiasm. "The way you disrupted the market with customer-first design? That's exactly the kind of innovation I want to be part of." I hired her as my executive assistant on the spot. My COO questioned the quick decision Emma had less experience than other candidates, but I trusted my gut. That gut had built a $50 million company. The first month was flawless. Emma anticipated my needs before I voiced them. She reorganized my chaotic calendar, streamlined my communications, remembered my coffee order without being told. She stayed late without complaining, asked insightful questions, absorbed information like she was born for this role. "You're a lifesaver," I told her one evening as she handed me a perfectly organized brief for our investor meeting. "Honestly, I don't know how I managed before you," she smiled, tucking blonde hair behind her ear. "Just doing my job, Victoria. Your success is my success." I should have heard the warning in those words. Should have questioned why someone so talented was content being an assistant. But I was drowning in a product launch, navigating a potential acquisition, and fighting board pressure to double our growth trajectory. I needed help. Emma was exceptional. The cracks started showing in month 2. Small things at first. Documents not quite where I'd left them. My laptop shifted slightly on my desk. Nothing concrete, just off. I blamed the cleaning crew, or my own exhaustion. 80-hour weeks will make you paranoid about stupid things. Then came the board meeting that destroyed everything. We were presenting our Q3 strategy, a confidential plan to expand into healthcare software. We'd spent 8 months developing it in absolute secrecy. Our entire competitive advantage depended on being first to market. I walked into that boardroom confident, Emma beside me carrying presentation materials. The moment I saw the board members' faces, my stomach dropped. "Victoria," Marcus Webb said, his voice cold as January. He was our lead investor, a man who'd backed me from day one. "We need to discuss your judgment." He slid a tablet across the mahogany table. The screen showed a TechCrunch article posted 30 minutes earlier. Innovate Corp announces healthcare expansion beating Tech Vibe to market. Innovate Corp, our biggest competitor, led by Derek Chen, a CEO who'd tried to poach me twice and whose company had been trying to crush us for 3 years. And they'd just announced our exact strategy. Same target demographics, same pain points, same technological approach. Features we'd invented were already filed in their preliminary patents. "This is impossible," I said, scanning the article with shaking hands. "We haven't shared this outside this room." "Then explain how Innovate Corp knew every detail," another board member said. "Explain how they signed partnerships with the 3 hospitals we'd been courting for months." 8 months of work. Millions in R&D. Our entire competitive future gone. There's a leak somewhere, I managed. We'll investigate immediately. We already did, Marcus interrupted. It ran a preliminary check this morning when we heard about Innovate Corp's announcement. Multiple confidential files were accessed from your computer, Victoria. Copied to external drives. Emails sent to unknown addresses from your accounts. The room tilted. That's insane. I would never. The digital trail leads directly to your devices and credentials. Unless you're suggesting someone else had access to everything. Everyone in that room knew only 3 people had unrestricted access to my computer and files. Me, our CTO, and my executive assistant. Emma sat beside me, face pale, eyes wide with perfect concern. Victoria, this is terrible. How could someone do this to you? She looked genuinely shocked, genuinely worried. And for a moment, I almost believed her. But something nagged at the back of my mind. A memory I'd dismissed walking into my office early one morning, finding Emma already there. Startled, my laptop open in front of her. Just preloading your morning reports. She'd explained with an apologetic smile. I'd thought nothing of it. The board gave me 2 weeks. 2 weeks to resolve the situation, or face removal as CEO of the company I'd built from nothing. I went through the motions for the rest of that day, but my mind raced. Someone had done this. Someone with intimate access to my work, my schedule, my computer, my passwords. Someone I trusted completely. That evening, I did something I'm not proud of. I installed monitoring software on my own devices, software that would track every access, every file opened, every keystroke. If someone was using my credentials, I'd catch them. Then I set a trap. The next morning, I created a fake document. Project Phoenix, confidential, board eyes only. A fictional expansion into education software, complete with fake market research, fabricated partnerships, and a non-existent $20 million investment. I made it look urgent, valuable, irresistible. Then I saved it in my most secure folder and waited. 2 days later, at 11 p.m., my monitoring software alert went off. Someone was accessing my computer remotely, using my credentials. I watched in real time as they navigated to Project Phoenix, spent 12 minutes reading it, then copied it to an external source. The IP address traced to a coffee shop 3 blocks from my office. The timestamp matched exactly when Emma had texted me about working late at a nearby cafe to finish organizing files. My hands shook as I watched the access log. Emma, my trusted assistant, the person I'd mentored, defended, believed in. But I needed more than monitoring logs. I needed proof that would hold up legally and professionally. Proof that would destroy her the way she'd tried to destroy me. I started digging into Emma's background. Really digging. Not the surface-level check HR had done. I hired a private investigator. Cost me $5,000. I couldn't really spare, but I was desperate. What he found made my blood run cold. Emma Clark wasn't her real name. She was Emma Castellano, Derek Chen's niece. She'd changed her surname, scrubbed her social media, created an entirely fake professional history. The Stanford degree was real, but she'd never worked at that mid-tier firm. She'd worked at Innovate Corp for 2 years before applying to TechVibe. The glowing recommendations in her application, fake. Written by people who didn't exist at companies that couldn't verify employment because of privacy policies. She'd been planted. From the very beginning, this was corporate espionage. I felt sick, betrayed in a way I'd never experienced. I'd trusted her with everything, my calendar, my passwords, my confidential strategies. I'd mentored her, stayed late helping her understand the industry, shared my own experiences as a woman in tech. And she'd been stealing from me the entire time. The PI dug deeper. He found evidence that Emma had done this before, gotten close to executives at 2 other startups, extracted information, then disappeared when the companies mysteriously lost competitive advantages. One company had folded entirely after losing a major contract to Innovate Corp. This was her specialty, corporate infiltration. And I'd made it so easy for her. I wanted to confront her immediately, fire her, call the police, expose everything. But my lawyer, a sharp woman named Andrea Liu, who specialized in corporate litigation, advised against it. "We need airtight evidence," Andrea said. "Right now, you have monitoring logs and background information. We need proof of actual theft, proof of coordination with Innovate Corp, proof that holds up in court. Otherwise, she'll claim she was just doing research, or that you're retaliating against a young female employee." So I kept pretending, kept working alongside Emma like nothing was wrong, even though every smile from her made me want to scream. I acted normal, friendly even, while secretly documenting everything. I created more fake documents, plans for expansions that didn't exist, partnerships that were pure fiction, technological breakthroughs we'd never made. I made them look real detailed financial projections, fake email chains with partners, technical specifications written by our engineers as part of the trap. Emma took the bait every single time. My monitoring software caught her accessing files at night, copying information, sending encrypted emails to external addresses. The PI traced some of those addresses back to IP addresses associated with Innovate Corp. I also started recording our conversations. One-party consent stayed perfectly legal. Every time Emma asked questions about our strategy, our technology, our plans, I recorded it. Later, when I reviewed the recordings, I could hear how she gently steered conversations, asked seemingly innocent questions that extracted maximum information. She was good. Really good. If I hadn't caught her red-handed with the monitoring software, I never would have suspected. 3 weeks after installing the monitoring software, I had enough. Andrea agreed we had solid evidence of corporate espionage, theft of trade secrets, and fraud. But I didn't just want Emma caught. I wanted Derek Chen and Innovate Corp destroyed. Andrea helped me craft a plan. We'd feed Emma one final piece of false information, something so valuable that Innovate Corp would act on it immediately, exposing themselves in the process. I created a fake document about Project Titan, a revolutionary AI feature that would supposedly transform our entire platform. I included fake technical specifications, fake beta test results showing incredible performance improvements, and a fake timeline showing we'd launch in 6 weeks. The trick? The technology was impossible. The specifications I'd included violated basic principles of how AI models actually work. Any real engineer would spot the problems immediately, but to a CEO trying to beat a competitor to market, it would look like a golden opportunity. I saved the document in my secure folder. Within 12 hours, Emma accessed it. Within 48 hours, my PI observed unusual activity at Innovate Corp engineers, suddenly working late, emergency meetings, rushed vendor orders. They'd taken the bait. 1 week later, Innovate Corp held a press conference. Derek Chen stood in front of cameras and announced their groundbreaking AI advancement, Project Titan. He described the exact fake specifications I'd created, promised features that couldn't exist, and claimed they'd launch in 4 weeks. Their stock jumped 15% on the announcement. And then we destroyed them. Andrea had prepared everything in advance. The moment Derek made his announcement, we filed a lawsuit for corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets. We submitted all our evidence, the monitoring logs, the PI's findings, the recorded conversations, the pattern of fake documents Emma had stolen. But the killing blow was the technical analysis. We had 3 independent AI experts write reports explaining why Project Titan was technologically impossible. We showed that Innovate Corp had announced a product based on stolen fake documents without doing basic due diligence. The story exploded. TechCrunch ran it first. Innovate Corp caught in corporate espionage scandal, announced impossible product based on stolen fake data. Innovate Corp's stock crashed. Investors demanded answers. Their board launched an emergency investigation. Emma tried to run. She didn't show up for work the day after the lawsuit was filed. But the FBI was already involved. Corporate espionage across state lines is a federal crime. They arrested her at the airport, trying to board a flight to Toronto. Derek Chen tried to claim he had no knowledge of Emma's activities, that she'd acted alone. But our lawsuit included email evidence. The PI had uncovered communications between Derek and Emma, discussing stolen TechVibe information, coordination on timing, plans to destroy specific competitors. The FBI investigation expanded to Innovate Corp's entire executive team. It turned out Emma wasn't their only corporate spy. They'd been running similar operations against 5 other companies over 3 years. The legal battle took 8 months. Emma pleaded guilty to corporate espionage, theft of trade secrets, and fraud. She got 4 years in federal prison. Derek Chen fought the charges, but eventually pleaded guilty to conspiracy and received 6 years. Innovate Corp never recovered. Their stock lost 80% of its value. Major clients cancelled contracts. The board fired the entire executive team and sold the company's assets to pay legal settlements. TechVibe, meanwhile, had the best quarter in our history. Our healthcare expansion, the real one, not the stolen fake version, launched successfully. The publicity from the lawsuit brought us national attention. Companies that had considered Innovate Corp switched to us. We signed partnerships with 12 hospitals in 3 months. The board that had threatened to remove me instead gave me a bonus and publicly apologized for doubting my judgment. Marcus Webb wrote an op-ed about the dangers of corporate espionage and praised my exceptional skill in uncovering a sophisticated fraud operation. I hired a new executive assistant, a 50-year-old former military intelligence analyst with a security clearance and 0 connection to any competitor. I also completely overhauled our security protocols. 2-factor authentication on everything. Regular security audits. Strict vetting of all new hires. But the biggest change was personal. I'd learned something crucial about trust. It's earned slowly, but can be exploited instantly. Emma had played me perfectly because I'd been desperate for help and wanted to believe in her potential. I'd ignored small warning signs because acknowledging them would mean admitting I'd made a mistake. I don't make that mistake anymore. 6 months after Emma's arrest, I received a letter from her in prison. She apologized, claimed she'd been pressured by Derek, said she admired what I'd built and regretted destroying it. I didn't respond, because her apology didn't matter. What mattered was that I'd caught her, exposed her, and made sure she couldn't do this to anyone else. The technology sector is ruthless. Companies spy on each other constantly, trying to steal advantages, poach talent, sabotage competitors. I used to think playing fair would be enough, that building a better product would win. Emma taught me different. Sometimes you have to fight dirty to protect what you've built. Sometimes the only way to win is to turn your enemy's weapons against them. I keep a framed photo on my office wall now. It's a screenshot of that TechCrunch article about Innovate Corp's scandal. Some people ask why I display something that reminds me of betrayal, but it doesn't remind me of betrayal. It reminds me that I'm smarter than anyone who tries to destroy me, that I built TechVibe from nothing, and I'll protect it from anyone, even people I trusted. Emma wanted to learn from me. In the end, she did. She learned that you don't cross Victoria Chen and walk away unscathed. TechVibe hit $75 million in revenue this year. We're expanding into 3 new sectors. I've been approached by venture capitalists about taking the company public, and every single success feels sweeter knowing I earned it honestly while the people who tried to steal from me are in prison or ruined. If someone tries to infiltrate your company, tries to steal what you built, tries to destroy your life's work, document everything. Trust your instincts, set traps, and when you catch them, don't just stop them. Destroy them so completely they can never threaten anyone else. That's not revenge. That's justice, and it's exactly what Emma deserved.